Hello and welcome to CEO Talk on CXO TV, where we engage with the top industry leaders to discuss insights, innovations, and business transformations in the ever evolving digital landscape. Today, we have with us an exceptional guest, Uday Mohan, Chief Operating Officer of Havas Media India, a name synonymous with innovation in advertising, AI driven media strategies, and integrated marketing solutions. Havas Media has been a pioneer in leveraging cutting edge technology and data driven storytelling to reshape the future of advertising. And with the theme of Tycoon Mumbai 2025, Dhanda First, emphasizing business growth and economic impact, this conversation couldn't be more relevant. So let's dive in and explore how AI, digital transformation, and evolving media trends are reshaping the advertising industry with one of its leading minds. Uday, welcome to CEO Talk. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks a lot for having me.
So, Havas Media has been a pioneer in integrating AI into advertising. How do you envision AI transforming the advertising landscape by 2025? And what role will Havas Media play in this evolution?
So I think the way it's happening now, it's not AI is not just a tool, it's an enabler, right? So I mean, we are kind of using it across all possible segments, whether it's in terms of efficiency, whether it's in terms of creativity, whether it's in terms of precision and advertising. So I think what AI is helping us. And right now, I'm talking from an overall advertising perspective, is kind of making things much more focused and a sharper target kind of a thing. So that's at an overall level from a AI perspective. So I think we are using AI across a lot of our functions, okay, right? From our basic media planning to kind of looking at the consumer insights, to looking at predictive analytics, and most importantly, content personalization. Because at the end of the day, we are able to kind of, using AI, we are able to slice the different consumer segments and kind of provide, personalized content to a lot of to a lot of different consumer segments, getting different kind of personalized content. So I think that's what is happening from an overall AI perspective, and it's kind of, I think, also completely reshaped the advertising landscape. So what the way, I mean, I've been in this business now for over 2 decades, right? And there's been a complete shift which has happened in the last couple of years with AI coming on board. So now there is more data-driven planning, more automation, and as I mentioned, more personalized kind of hyper-personalized kind of communication which is happening. So at Havas Media specifically, we kind of understand and realize the fact that this is an important seismic shift which is happening, and therefore we are investing a lot in AI-driven consumer understanding. We are looking at programmatic advertising, and we are most importantly looking at real-time campaign optimization. Those days are over when you could kind of put a campaign on air and then wait for few weeks for some of the results to come in, for the data to come in and analyze and understand the impact. Now we are using AI for real time campaign optimization. So to kind of, if I have to just sum this up, I mean, we are kind of using AI, blending AI with human creativity, to drive what we at Havas believe is driving meaningful brand connections.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So, while AI enables automation and predictive insights, do you see any ethical challenges emerging, perhaps in areas like deep fake ads or AI generated content,
Yes,
human creativity?
correct. Absolutely. So I think that's why it's very, very clear. And that's why I said that we have to blend AI with human creativity. We cannot. And that's why, while it will help us drive automation, it will help us drive customization, it will help us drive scale. But at the end of the day, these ethical challenges, these qualitative factors are something where the human creativity, the human intervention is required to kind of ensure that the communication or whatever it is goes in the right direction, right? So, and the advantages with AI is that it's a very fast learning model, right? As long as we kind of keep keep feeding in the right inputs and ensuring what is ethically right, well, it learns very fast, and therefore we are able to kind of, once we're kind of able to feed that in, we can kind of take it forward. But yes, that's why AI with human creativity is very, very critical.
Yeah, sure. So, Havas Media operates in over 100 countries, offering everything from creative advertising to health and wellness communications. Managing such a vast portfolio, how do you ensure consistently quality and innovation across such diverse markets?
So I think it's what the way we are kind of operating is that we have an overall strategic framework, which is kind of and that's a new operating system called Converge, which is our strategic framework, which is happening across the globe, across all the agencies, all the countries are following the strategic framework. So that's got a clear cut timeline kind of and definition in terms of how we kind of take it forward. Having said that, each of the markets, especially for instance, a market like India, is a very, very different from a developed country like US, right? So that's what we have to do. While we have the global practices in place, those practices are being adapted to the local circumstances, the local environment, right? Because, for instance, and we are talking in the backdrop of Icon, right, where entrepreneurship, startup culture is so prevalent in India. So a lot of established practices which might work in a developed country or a country which is more advanced will not work here. But the way we work is that we kind of have the overall framework across markets, which is broadly the same framework where we look at the consumers, we look at a lot of data mining, we look at analytics, but then customize it to each of the individual markets. For instance, here we customize it to India. There are a lot of data challenges here, right? So how do we kind of overcome those data challenges and kind of look at alternatives to kind of manage the local data challenges? So that's how we kind of do. So framework at a global level, but customized at a local level is how we kind of take it forward.
Yeah, sure. So it's a slightly different approach compared to more mature markets here in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the challenges are far more, right from our consumers who are very different. And the fact is that unlike a lot of other markets, here the diversity of the markets, right? I mean, we have segments, we have the come absolutely ultra luxury, ultra rich to the bottom of the pyramid, and across, I mean, every across the different length and breadth of the country. Just the sheer vastness of the country means that forget global, even within India we have to kind of change based on the what will work in a north will not work in south, right? And versus a west or a east. So I think that's the challenge as far as India is concerned, but that's what makes it more fascinating.
Yeah, sure. So this year's Tycon Mumbai 2025 revolves around the theme Dhanda First, focusing on business growth and economic impact. So how does Havas Media align its strategies to support startups and entrepreneurial ecosystems, especially in emerging markets like India?
So I think the theme, which is Dhanda First, it kind of resonates very well with our core philosophy, which is driving business impact through meaningful media. We feel that it's not just about putting advertising dollars behind any media or advertising monies behind any media and kind of driving reach and impact. It's about understanding what's the requirement and kind of customizing it as per the requirement. And in a market like India, where entrepreneurship is thriving, we actually we actively support startups and challenger brands, and we kind of provide a lot of customized solutions. We do help in bringing when the startups are just about starting, we help them build scalable models. We help them build ROI-driven marketing strategies. We have access to data, right? We are experts in consumer storytelling, so we are able to kind of use all our skills, all this, and kind of bring all our data support to the individual startups, to the individual entrepreneurs, and say that depending on the phase of the brand journey that you are in, we can customize and provide you with ROI-led solutions. So I think that's how we are kind of taking it forward, and I feel that ultimately this theme, which is Dhanda First theme, is something which very, very resonates with the way the market is currently operating, that we need to be looking at business. Everything is about ROI, right? Yes, I mean, in the good old days when I started advertising, it was about a long-term kind of thing. If you are spent building brands and building brand equity, which those parameters are still there. But right now the pressure is on how do we, for each and every money which is being spent, what is the ROI? What is the business outcome? So I think that's where we kind of use a lot of our data analytics and a lot of data mining to kind of ensure and track which money is being used where, which one is I would say is optimized, what is working, what is not working, and do a real time media optimization. And therefore we work very closely quickly and try and work on what we also call a philosophy called test, learn, and optimize, right? Instead of just spending all the monies in one go, spend bits and pieces, understand how it is, and then scale it up. And that, I think, very, very similar to the way the entrepreneurs, especially the entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey, would also want to kind of take things forward.
Yeah, that's a great point. And in fact, many startups often have limited budgets,
Yeah, yeah.
but have high ambitions.
Yeah. No, so I think that's what we try and do, that within the limited budgets, how do we do a razor focus, precision kind of a targeting, using all our, consumer insights, using all our tools to ensure that those limited monies, how do we kind of ensure that it is optimized and it is, it's spent effectively and efficiently.
Absolutely. So AI-driven automation is revolutionizing customer engagement, as you also highlighted previously in your answer. So how is Havas Media leveraging AI to drive personalization and measurable ROI for brands?
So I think we have kind of the way the what we have done is that we have kind of really re-looked at our entire operations and structure, right? We are looking at providing end-to-end solutions. We are offering services across strategy, content, commerce, across the entire spectrum. So the way we are looking at is that we are looking at some of that using the AI tools and all the tools that we have to ensure that we are able to provide the prospective consumers or the prospective entrepreneurs a solution which is kind of AI led, which is kind of automated, which kind of ensures that while there is, as I mentioned at the start, there is human creativity, but at the same time, there is a maximum efficiency which is being brought to the table using these tools and processes.
So, with AI, handling so much of marketing analytics and there's a lot of automation. So, do you see the traditional media agency model shifting towards more of a tech-driven consultancy approach?
So I think I feel that what's happened is that the entire advertising model, especially in the last couple of years, has shifted. Earlier, there used to be, especially in a market like India, there used to be television and print, which used to be the big daddies, right? It used to be the bulk of the spends used to happen there. But over the last few years, digital channels have grown, and that's that there has been a significant growth of the digital channels. Having said that, at Havas Media, what we follow is our meaningful media approach. So what we try and do is that we are media agnostic. We try and understand what are the platforms that will engage and influence the consumers, right? We kind of look at it from a consumer lens. We do not look at it from a traditional media or a digital media or a new media kind of a lens, and we kind of figure out what, for this category, X category, which are the platforms which will help in influencing and engaging the consumers, and we kind of reverse look at these types. So I mean, and right now, as you're aware, the media ecosystem, there is so many things, right? There is programmatic advertising, there is social, there is the creator economy. So what we try and do is bring all these new media and align with the legacy medias, which is your TV and print, to kind of come up with a solution which helps in driving the brand, the brand reach and the recall kind of thing. So that's how the complete media architecture or the media environment has changed over the years, and now it's like a more of a seamless movement from one platform to another.
So, how do you do that? Balancing that traditional media strategies with, these new trends which are digital and like kind of influencer marketing. So, how are you striking that balance? Yeah.
It's a clear cut function of what the brand requirements are, right? There would be, it depends on what the requirements are, what is the level of scale that the brand needs to be in, what are the geographical areas that you need to kind of look at, and based on that you kind of and we have access to a lot of data. We do a lot of research, a lot of consumer insights. We are tracking the consumers in terms of their media habits. Where are they spending time? How much of the time are they spending on the mobile phones? How much time they're spending on social media? How much time they want to spending time on television, right? So we are getting a lot of all of this data. What we are doing at the back end is accumulating all of these data, kind of understanding this data, and figuring out for this X specific product or a service, which is launching or providing service in a particular market, this would be the most effective or the efficient medium mix. So the way we kind of try and do is that for the X amount of money, which is the most optimum or the efficient, way to kind of reach out to the consumer, and that's how we kind of reverse engineer the entire media strategy and kind of look at a media approach kind of a thing. So unlike earlier where we would be looking at TV and print to start with, it is now not necessary at all. We can kind of, there are brands who, if they're catering to specific geographies or localities, we can completely be doing a completely local, say an influencer-led campaign or a campaign just on social. So that is the big shift which has happened over the last couple of years, which is also being led by all the technology and the rise of the significant increase in the mobile phone penetration.
Yeah, so it's quite targeted
Yes.
marketing which is happening now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think most of the brands, especially B2B, are more into account-based marketing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think somewhere that what's happening is that as I mentioned, it's all about ROI, right? So I mean, how do we kind of maximize what is being spent? So ultimately, the aim is to have the minimal spend and the maximum impact. So how do you kind of, and and that's why I said we use the test, learn, and optimize kind of a thing to kind of keep testing, learning, and then this is that optimizing the approach.
Sure. So sustainability is no longer just a buzzword, it's a consumer expectation. How is Havas Media ensuring that brands don't just talk about sustainability, but actually integrate it into their campaigns?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, now it's not longer just an option. That's an expectation that a lot of consumers have, a lot of brands have, and a lot of consumers at times, with especially the evolved consumers, are now looking at how brands are moving beyond just a profit motive, right? So, we had talked about the fact. I talked about the fact that we look at meaningful media, we look at meaningful brands. So, what we try and do is ensure that all the brands that we are working on, we kind of embed a kind of a sustainable and a responsible, socially responsible kind of a storytelling into the brand. Because I think that is something which is very, very important. We try and ensure that, all our clients' messaging align with the environmental, social, and, ethical values. But ultimately, because a lot of consumers are looking for that. How is the brand being economically, or is the brand, is this a sustainable brand? So that is something, how is the brand moving beyond profits? That's now a requirement. So that's how we're kind of taking it forward.
Sure. So the advertising industry is evolving fast with new technologies, new consumer behaviors, and new platforms emerging every year. So how do you nurture talent and innovation to ensure that teams stay ahead of the curve?
So the clear cut thing is that what we have realized, and what everyone has realized, it that we have to constantly re relearn. We cannot be stuck on what has been, what we were doing, say, 10 years back times. Now the way the pace of change is much faster. What is applicable 6 months back might not be applicable after 6 months, right? Therefore, the emphasis is clearly on training. The emphasis is clearly on constant training, looking at, and the advantage that at Havas we have, since we are a global agency with presence across different markets, we are able to get the best practices or the new trends from other markets. For instance, Gen Zs in India and abroad, to a large extent, follow a lot of patterns because they are influenced by what is happening globally. So we are able to kind of try and pick those trends, kind of constantly engage our teams and kind of tell them about these are the trends, so that they are aware of it and they are not stuck in a time warp kind of a thing. So the only way is to constant learning and relearning, and more importantly, unlearning also what you might have been doing, say, 1 year back, because the pace of the change is so fast.
Yeah, sure. But with Gen Z entering the workforce, do you see their approach to creativity and marketing changing the agency model?
So the one debate that one debate or one big factor which has happened with the Gen Zs coming on board is that the traditional workplace has kind of completely changed, right? I mean, there's been a huge debate happening on work from home, whether and work from office. But the fact of the matter is that while the Gen Zs have they come with a lot of attitude, but also, I mean, they also bring in a lot of confidence. So I would say that they bring in a lot of confidence, they bring in a lot of fresh thinking, they are able to challenge a lot of the established norms, which I feel helps in the overall, especially in a in an industry where we want to kind of talk to the consumers, we want to kind of challenge established norms, change the way we are looking at things. The influence of Gen Zs at an overall level is a positive influence because it also pushes the existing people who have been in the ecosystem for long, who have spent say 10 or 15 years, to kind of also relook at things, challenge their way of approach, and kind of take it forward.
Yeah, sure. So, looking ahead, what are your key priorities for the next 5 years, and where do you see the biggest disruptions happening? Like AI-driven hyper-personalization, immersive experiences like metaverse, or something entirely new?
So clearly, one clear thing is that now no one can operate in silos. Earlier, we used to have specialist agencies or specialist teams working on one aspect of a plan, whether it would be a creative agency or a media agency, which would be looking at planning, which would be looking at buying. Uh, Silos have completely been. We kind of need to our clients and the entrepreneurs are looking at performance solutions. They are saying, this is my business objective. Give me an end-to-end solution. I am not interested in one part of the solution. So if I look at it from that perspective, if I kind of do, I mean, three or four key things that that will drive the future, and which is what we are also kind of we're trying to embrace. One is the data-driven decision making. In most of the decision now, earlier a lot of it used to happen in basis gut, instinct, but now most of it is happening basis specific data which is available. Then the other second trend is omni-channel marketing. It's not about being present on a TV or a digital or a print platform. It's how we are seamlessly going to be present across the entire ecosystem, because that's how the consumer journey is, right? The consumers might move from a digital ecosystem to a TV. So omni-channel marketing is the other trend that we need to kind of look. The third one is the influencer and creator economy, because I mean, now the sheer number of influencers, both macro and micro influencers, that's an absolutely parallel economy which is happening across entire contents are being generated. So that's something which we are looking at, we are embracing, and we are kind of at times a lot of consumers feel more connected to these influencers. Sustainability is something which we have talked about, which is in terms of it's now not something, it's a requirement. And so to sum it up, it's all about agility, an integrated approach using data driven models is the way forward for this industry.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, finally, for marketeers and brands trying to stay relevant, what's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Do not ever be stuck on what has happened in the past. Be ready to constantly evolve yourself, evolve and innovate. That's the one line I would say advice that I would give to all marketers.
Yeah. So this has been incredibly insightful conversation. We have covered AI's role in advertising, digital disruption, sustainability, and the future of brand
Yeah.
engagement. So thank you for sharing your expertise, industry perspectives, and vision for the future with us.
Thanks a lot. This was a great session.
Yeah. And to our viewers, what are your thoughts on the future of AI-driven advertising? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe CXO TV for more exclusive conversations with industry leaders. See you in the next episode of CEO Talk. Thank you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.